So let's get to find out what the dailies are leading with today on the program. And we will start with the Vanguard newspaper. 2027 presidency, controversies trail ADC primaries, court clears Jonathan. Amechi hired today in kick. Atiku awaits affirmation. Court dismisses suit against Jonathan with 21 million cost. Tinubu, Jonathan, Atiku, 4-horse race looms. Duke, Shaware, Honor, others emerge as standard bearers. So it looks like we're going in full circle, but with the exception of one. At least Robbie Kwankwaso may not be on the ballot as a presidential candidate so far, because it looks like the OK movement is being consolidated in the NDC. But for the ADC, it's a tricky one, because Amechi is a fighter. Amechi is a big fighter. He came second against not running mate now. He came second to President Bola Tinubu in their own primaries, and very likely he's going to come second. But he's rejected that there were some shenanigans that happened. So it looks like the quagmire of the ADC is getting worse by the day, and the speculation that, as a matter of fact, this was an issue put together for the interest of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar may just be coming through. But let's see what it will be, because they need an Amechi there. What I saw from where I sit is to the fact that when Robbie Kwankwaso and Peter Obi joined the ADC, the vigor, the energy, there's this light through the opposition that came, because the PDP was confused as to where they are. They're just confused about whatever is going on with their infighting. So people were looking for another party to look at, to say, okay, which party can we look at as an alternative? But ADC came through, and they built significant momentum. In fact, at some point, it was celebrated to say, oh, Bola Tinubu, the president, thank you, because if you didn't chase us everywhere, we would not be able to aggregate. But as soon as they left, that energy has kind of waned, and now it looks like it's going to wane even further down. I don't know what Atiku will rely on, but from my projections, regional block of votes, maybe what he's relying on. He doesn't have any state to, like PDP. He had every election he has been part of, at least the major ones he has been part of, has had the backing of state structures. This is the first time he's going to run like a Peter Obi in 2023. So the only person that has the model of the next election in the opposition is perhaps Peter Obi, because what he did is an outlier happenstance that happened the last time when he got 6.1 million votes without a governor, without a local government chairman, just people just aggregating and those who believed in him. So he's the one that has that template Atiku doesn't have.
And he has a whole region on lockdown.
Yes, he has a whole region on
lockdown.
So Atiku may be relying more on maybe the north, because let's not kid ourselves. We still vote sentimentally. Tribal lines, regional, ethnicity, or religion, those are the ways we vote. There are very few times we vote along, objectivity in terms of programs and policies. So for now, it happens, even for President Bola Tinubu as well. He's going to suffer some losses in certain places and win some. So the mapping is still on as to how things will really play out. Where will President Bola Tinubu get most of his votes? Where will Atiku get most of his votes if he eventually scales through? Where will Peter Obi get most of his votes? Which other person is there? Jonathan, I don't like to mention him because the man has never even spoken to say whether or not.
He's running.
The only thing he told us the last time was, I'm consulting. But I doubt. Guys, so which other papers are we looking at?
Never say never with politics.
Yeah, I know, but I really doubt.
Oh, well, that's still on the assumption, by the way, just before we get to the next paper, that we would still be, voting along the lines of the traditional North-South dichotomy that trails our electioneering.
We forgot to mention, sorry, Bukola.
So,
Oyo State Governor, sorry for cutting you, Oyo State Governor, we forgot.
There are others we forgot to mention. If we keep going this way, we won't stop. Others, but yes, he's a prominent one.
Yeah, he's
under the alliance of the PDP and the APM.
That's going to cause some upset for the president. Maybe cut some vote out for the president.
Yes, so I was saying that on the assumption that would still form the pattern of voting, and that means that we're not headed anywhere close to the development that we desire if Nigerians are not voting based on merit, voting based on results, whether they have seen the results that they desire under this administration, if they're not voting based on capacity, based on competence, and the challenge has been thrown to us that we should, set the agenda. I think we should not keep quiet on these development issues that should begin to, make our electioneering and politicking look more mature than this current base level. You always talk about juvenile politics, and so if the electorate have not moved away from that level, then we're not headed anywhere yet. But let's head to the next paper and hope that we move forward this morning. And the next one would be New Telegraph. New Telegraph trails on the president's Eid message for its big story. Eid-El-Kabir, Children's Day. Tinubu assures Nigerians of improved security, calls for national unity. Says youngsters deserve inclusion, protection, opportunities. Akpabio, Abbas, Barrow, Kalu, others urge sacrifice, unity, prayers. FG slashes train fares by 50% for Salah celebration. And then atop the big story, you find, some other stories that, should also concern you. ADC presidential primaries, we've, of course, spoken to this. Hayatuddin alleges widespread rigging. Steer clear of NDC. Obi tells opportunistic politicians. Well, it looks like the road is now clear for Mr. Obi. Party built on institutions, not transactions. That's ascribed to Galadima. And the story from the international scene, U.S. launches new strikes on Iran targeting missile sites and boats. Now, with the greatest sense of respect, with the greatest sense of, esteem placed on that office, we have reached the juncture, or the junction, if you like, where the president should address the nation on matters of security, on matters of the economy. In that message yesterday, which I read, the president did say that, the reforms are yielding results and, they're taking us towards economic stability. And he did traditionally also acknowledge that the reforms will call for sacrifice. But where we are now, where there are huge insecurity concerns, every day someone is putting up a video about their loved ones kidnapped. The children kidnapped from Oriri local government in Oyo State, those from Ogbomoso, they're still in captivity, and those in Kogi, Kwara, who are still awaiting the return of their loved ones. In fact, from Kwara, many more have been kidnapped in the last 48 hours. The president owes Nigerians, some messaging about the commitment of his administration to ensuring the security of lives and property. He owes Nigerians many more explanations about, efforts to revamp the economy, to ensure that, under this weight of 1,300 naira per litre, that of course the administration is considering, other measures to make life bearable for Nigerians. And so we haven't seen that. I doubt that we have even seen, a media chat from the presidency in recent times.
No, he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
It's not his style.
It's a dime and a dozen. How do you say that then again? And this is something you're meant to have consistently too. But
it's not Nigeria's president's style.
There you go. So that's the New Telegraph. Quickly, the Nigerian Tribune is next up. It's funny the things we've come to accept as a people and as a nation. And I tell you that a lot of people who defend and say, yes, that's how it should be. You shouldn't speak to us too often, so you don't commonize it. But hey, the Nigerian Tribune leads with the primaries fallout yet again. Defeated gubernatorial aspirants. Senators, reps perfect defection moves. And you have the same ADC, NDC, PRP top list of preferred parties as Abuja court ruling opens the floodgates. Defections hit Bauchi, Jigawa. So politicians doing what they know how to do best. And you see the picture on the front page showing some of 1.7 million pilgrims participating in this year's Hajj on Mount Arafat. This image was taken yesterday, marking the peak of a 2026 spiritual exercise in Saudi Arabia. And that's in line, of course, with today's celebration So an update, really, on the situation with the Oyo kidnapped victims. DHQ deploys troops surveillance assets to track perpetrators. Says troops killed 317 terrorists, rescued 221 victims in May. Kidnapped Crane IBEDC workers regain freedom. So these are things that happened weeks ago, still just being resolved. So you wonder, we really hope that that will not be the situation for the Orire victims who were kidnapped. But hey, that's what you have on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune today. Mixed bag of stories, almost an everyday affair right here.
All right, let's go to This Nigeria. This Nigeria is leading. I'm going to talk about two stories on This Nigeria. The first has to do with some success stories. Military kills, just by the picture on the front page of This Nigeria. Military kills 317 terrorists, rescues 221 victims in the month of May. That's page 7 read. That's according to the DHQ, Defense Headquarters. That's what we call our own defense headquarters, our own Pentagon right here in Nigeria, DHQ. So success story is a mixed bag of many things, but we are grateful for the effort. As we've always said, the military is doing their bit. All we need is a political will to be able to marshal and rally so they get the best they can get. We've seen these guys, you know, go to other countries to, you know, carry out peace missions, flush out, you know, elements that are disturbing the state, you know, aggregate interests. So we have record to show the capacity of our military and what they can do. But political infiltration, sabotage, and many other elements, unprofessionalism by certain elements who have joined in has really caused the military a lot of pain. But we thank them for taking out these terrorists. They should continue to take them out. I don't believe in Operation Safe Corridor. Well, with the greatest sense of respect, if you're killed as a fundamentalist, an ideological terrorist, the state has the monopoly of power and violence to be able to send you to have a date with your maker. That is the only thing acceptable. And for the persons they've rescued, we're grateful as well. But beneath that story, INEC raises alarm over deep fakes, fake news ahead of Ekiti governorship poll. People, do you know, a lot of people are not aware, guys, that Ekiti election is less than a month from now. I'm not even seeing any political party in Ekiti state, not even APC, PDP, all the parties, I don't know how many parties, in fact, for a fact, are contesting for that office of governor of Ekiti state. There is no, the campaigns, I really don't know what's going on with Ekiti state. It doesn't feel like there's an election coming. And I understand, I think it's June 20th, if my date is correct. So this is May 20 what? May 27th. And June 20th, there's going to be an election in Ekiti state. And we can't see literally anything on television, or maybe it's happening in Ekiti, I don't know. But we don't feel, even local government election in Rivers State, local government election used to be, we had no special broadcast for it, but with Ekiti, I really don't know. Maybe because I grew up in Rivers, I'm used to gang. They are calmer.
It's clashing with you know, the primaries, you know, the 2027 politics build-up.
So it's overshadowed it.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So rather than campaign now, they were doing primaries
Yeah.
this past weekend. They're still counting and trying to resolve all the issues. So naturally, you understand that that is overshadowing it. But that's not to say that they're not having all these campaigns here and there.
They do. I thank you for raising that point as well, because the reason why we talk about campaigns, because it helps. You know, we've been complaining about voter turnout. Our voter turnout is less than 40%. That's me just exaggerating. Yeah. In fact, it's between 20 to 35. Some states is as low as 25%. So we can put 25 to 35. So the government spends money to print ballot papers, hire all of these guys to go and do this work. We spend a lot of money, and then you just have about 35 or 30% of people coming out to cast their ballot. It's just a waste of fund. So with campaigns and all of this engineering can help people to say, okay, let me go and try. You know, I vote for this person, he may win, he may lose. So the whole idea is for us to admonish people, citizens, to tell them that, look, guys, it is your civic responsibility to decide. Bukola
Who
Nkare,
governs you?
there are states. You know, I was in Anambra. Anambra, the previous election was slightly over 10%. You see how we're jubilating that we got 21%. 2021, we're happy governorship election. You know what that means, in fact? That means that if there are 3 million people in Anambra State, or let's say 2 million people in Anambra State, they're talking about only 400,000 decided it.
Or if there are 5 people in Anambra State, only one person.
One person?
In fact, there are more people in Anambra State because this is just for the registered voters. In that sense, there's usually more people. So when you do the math, sometimes like maybe one person out of 10 decided
who the next leader would be in that particular state.
I don't know whether that's...
And that's why we're scrutinizing the result of the APC presidential primaries, you know, turning out more than 90%. More than 90% of votes that, you know, we would normally not see, even for one political party, in normal election time. But it also speaks to how development has not matched, you know, the level of investment that we put into our elections. And so many, just like comparing tax paying with the results of tax paying, do not see the justification for them to come out and hence the low voter turnout that we see during electioneering. But it's also our responsibility, and Channels does that a lot, you know, a lot of education, our responsibility to organize the political debate and ask all the candidates. And if those who don't come, that's already a result for them, you know, an item on the list of boxes that the electorate should tick and use to determine whether or not they should vote for a candidate. And so when the debates are done and the candidates come to speak about their plan, their agenda for that state, and then the electorate will make up their minds over whether or not they want to go with this candidate, the incumbent, or any of the other candidates on the list. And so we hope to see that in the coming days before June 20, hopefully.
We hope to see. But guys, I think that's... do we have any other papers to look at?
Well, there's Daily Trust.
Daily Trust, yeah.
On the front page of the Daily Trust is the election matter as well, and the celebration of Eid-El-Kabir. So it's really the same thing. Tinubu, governors, others felicitate with Muslims, preach hope. So it's a mixture of Children's Day, because you see, despite advocacy, Nigerian children remain vulnerable. So the same stories, really, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
Absolutely. Okay, we will switch gears now from the dailies. So I want to use this opportunity to, because I want to do what I did in Anambra, appeal to the people of Ekiti State, please. Even though, you know, whether or not you're comfortable with how the government is doing well at the federal, or not doing well, or doing well at the states, please go out and vote. Because the more you don't come out, the more politicians have the opportunity to do as they like. When you come out en masse, it's difficult for them to... They will still try to do, because mischief and politicians, like, they have an inseparable covenant. Some politicians, let me contextualize that. And morality and politicians don't sit in the same room for the most part. So we always expect mischief. That's why we have laws to protect your votes as a country. So please, do not give up on our country. Do not give up on Ekiti State. Please go out on the 20th of June, or whatever date it is, and cast your ballot for the candidates of your choice. That is it's a responsibility, it's a duty you owe to your people, or to your government, so that you can hold them accountable, say, I voted for you, or I didn't vote for you tomorrow. We'll be back after this as we celebrate Eid right here on Channels TV. Stay with us.